Welcome to Module 7. This lesson is going to be about how to use the Live Trace feature, and it's a wonderful feature for being able to work with bitmaps and photographs. So it's all about actually converting a photograph into a vector object. And there are some issues that will come up with converting any kind of photograph or bitmap into a vector. The first issue is around detailing and around file size, and I'll be able to explain more as we walk through the steps for this. So what I'm going to do is go to File and then go to Place to place this bitmap into the work area, and I'm going to look for my robot that we used in our last lesson. I'm going to place this one, and I'm also going to get the black arrow, the selection tool, and make it a little bit bigger so that we can see it and have a nice clear view of this robot. Okay, now to turn this into a vector, well, the advantages, of course, if you'd want to turn something into a vector, is that no matter what size you make it, it's going to be it's going to have the same quality. Because if you start to enlarge bitmaps, you start to lose quality. So, for instance, if I make this any larger, like this, it's actually not going to be too bad. But you can see it starts to lose a little bit quality. It starts to look a little bit fuzzy because it's a bitmap. If you were to do this after it's turned into a vector, you wouldn't see problems with the quality. It would just get larger, that's all. Because Illustrator only has to do the mathematical calculations just one time to put it together, no matter what size you're working with. So to turn this into a vector-based object, very simple. Just go to Object and then go to Live Trace, and then go to Tracing Options. You could just go to Make or Make and Expand, because that's the command that you would need in order to make the image turn into a vector. But I go to Tracing Options so that I can actually see what kind of an object I'm going to get. By default, the mode comes up as black and white mode, and if I want to keep this a color trace, I'm going to want to change this to color. That, of course, will make it have a significantly larger file size. Let me move this into the viewing area here. And color may take a little bit more processing time, but we want to work with changing the colors also to add to the colors. Maximum colors right now are 6, but if I use this drop down menu, I can increase the number of colors so that I can have an image that has just as many colors as the original. But the more I increase the colors, the more detailed the image is going to be, and the more processing time it's going to take, and the larger in file size it will also be. So you can play around with each of these different controls, but I just find that it's best to, well, depending on what you want to do. For this one, I'm going to leave the blur at 0. With a real photograph, I might change this, but since this is an illustration, I'm not going to change it. Always keep resampling checked. I recommend leaving it to the default. I'm going to leave it at the default for now. And then, actually, I'm ready to go. We can talk about these little controls later. But I'm going to just click Trace, and you can see what happens. The progress meter works through it. Can take a long time if you have a lot of details and colors you're working with. But now this object has been turned into a vector object. You still wouldn't really know it. It looks like nothing has happened. You have to do one more step. You have to go to Object, and then you have to go to Expand. And then you will be able to see the anchor points. So we'll click OK. And look at all those anchor points that are in this object. If I zoom in, I can see all these different fields where the vectors are actually being drawn. But you can manipulate each of these anchor points just the same way as you can even more simple objects. So if you want to just do some fine detail editing, you can go in here with your direct selection tool and you can change the shape of this object just by clicking the anchor point and moving it around. You might actually, you can click this piece. I'm trying to get that anchor point right there, and then you can pull it around. You can grab the handlebars and change the curves. And since it looks like a piece of this is lying behind this dark blue field, so I'm going to go to Object, Arrange, Bring to Front, and that's going to bring this field up to the front. So if I go over to this eye and I want to work with this eye, I can click this anchor point and I can change the curve here. And if that area is underneath, I can go to Object, Arrange, and Bring to Front, and that's going to bring out my colors. So this is just a way to be able to work with photographs and turn them into vectors.